It's the Miscellaneous Podcast.
Away we go, and three.
Oh, good. Yes, we are.
Your hosts, Paulie.
Now, what do you think is in that little case there?
And Josh.
Try as they will, and try as they might, who steals we go, won't live through the night.
With a title that says it all, let's get to it.
Lots of fun at Finnegan's Wake.
Well, sir, happy St. Patrick's Day.
And happy St. Patrick's Day to you.
Oh, it's going to be fun. Are you guys going to do anything?
Yeah, I gotta go to work.
Well, so do I. I have to work, but, you know, it's a me.
When you get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, there's no time for drinking. Ever since I moved down here, really, we don't go out and drink. I mean, we'd rather save money than spend, $10 on a drink. Drink.
Oh, God. It's official. We're old people now.
Dude, I spent $25 on a good bottle of whiskey and drink that for a while.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just looking at it the wrong way. When I look back and I remember us, it's usually binge drinking and doing drugs until the wee hours of the morning.
Oh, for sure. I was drinking, you were doing drugs.
Tomato, tomato.
So, Paul, tell us about your drug use.
Tell us everything.
Tell us your naughty secrets. Stupid.
Well, everybody's Irish on St. Patrick's Day.
That's true. And those of you who aren't Irish will be Irish.
It's one of the few religious and cultural holidays that doesn't come with backlash for being celebrated.
That makes sense. I mean, it's, an Irish and proud of it holiday.
I'm assuming the excessive amounts of alcohol consumed and being accepted because it's part of the holiday tradition makes people less pissed off about celebrating it.
Fun fact, green beer makes green poop. Yeah, it's going in there, isn't it?
When I was a kid, my dad would get green snake-shaped bread to go with the corned beef and hash my mom would make.
Oh, we did the corned beef and hash, and we put potatoes in it as well because we was po.
In school, when you were really young, you had to wear green or a girl would pinch you.
Yeah. I hated it because I just wore like a green sticker. And I was like, don't pinch me.
I remember kids like you who'd wear the Izod shirts with the little green alligator on, and they're like, that counts.
No, I wasn't like whiny about it. I was just like, okay, I'm wearing my stupid green. Don't pinch me.
Yeah.
Green is stupid. No one likes green. Go away.
Aw. Now, in high school, you would wear the green, but it'd be a shirt that says, Kiss Me, I'm Irish.
I had a shirt that had an arrow pointing down that said, Kiss Me, I'm Irish.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Dude, I think you and I would have had fun if we went to high school together.
I think so.
And the rest of the time, it's the same kind of shirt, but with green beer and popcorn sprayed with the green food coloring.
Yeah, and you know what? That green food coloring gets all over your hands and everything. It's gross.
Yep. And it makes you poop green, like you said.
Fun fact. Green poop.
Did you ever piss green from any of it?
I've never been that sick to where I piss green.
Me neither. It's just... See, now you make it sound like it was so bad that I said it.
Oh, Mr. Paul.
I never went to a St. Patrick's Day parade. Did you? Or at least I don't remember I've been to one before. There's a lot of times I don't remember a lot of things.
I went to the one in Belleville.
Cool. Did they do anything fun?
It's a parade, and it's about beer, so I mean...
It's kind of limited to what they can do, I guess, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, they're like, they're tossing out those wooden beer tokens at you, and,
Picture like a hockey puck, and they're like flinging them at people. Like, what does it look like?
It's a wooden token. It's about the size of maybe a silver dollar.
Oh, like a poker chip?
Yeah, it's about the size of a poker chip, and they just toss them at you, and it's good for a free beer.
But by the end of the night, from bar hopping, I'd end up with the plastic leprechaun hat, the beads, and possibly a sleepover friend.
Yeah, sleepover friends, definitely. Not so much I didn't do the beads. I did do the beads. I gave away beads. I didn't wear them so much.
Off topic with Mardi Gras. You were with me. Didn't we go up to like a fast food thing when we were all drunk one night? And you just hear this girl's voice, and we know she's not a pretty one. And we're like, we got beads.
Yeah, that would have been you and me.
All right, the legend of St. Patrick. You ready for this?
I couldn't be more excited.
How much you know about St. Patrick?
About the only thing I know about St. Patrick's Day is that it wasn't always about beer and green beer.
Yeah.
And green-colored popcorn and green-colored food.
That was for me, too, because, I've only known St. Patrick for party times. So this was pretty enlightening to read up all about this stuff.
Party porpoises.
What does that mean?
It's a turtle. A turtle is a porpoise.
Oh, well, you call me a turtle? You call me a party turtle?
What am I, some kind of turtle here to amuse you?
All right, here we go. All right, due to the piss-poor record-keeping back then, there's not much definitive proof on some of St. Patrick's timelines, and some of the timelines were moved for some reason. Nice, huh?
No.
We don't care about record-keeping back then.
Well, and you look at stuff like that, and it's like, they had to write it down on goat skin. Again, goats getting a bad rap.
And there's a goat story in here for you, too.
I know there is, because goats get a bad... It's like, if you want to do anything good or bad, get a goat.
Good times. Good goats.
Or goats.
Now I'm picturing like them like killing a goat, letting it air dry, and then riding on its hide. Ugh.
It was basically like that, but not quite like that. Do you think like everybody I'm sorry, we're going to go off on a goat tangent just real quickly. Do you think like the entire world got together and was like, what animal should we just sacrifice for good and bad? Moose? That's too big. Otter? Now they're too cute. Goat? No one likes goats, and their meat is delicious.
I don't know. I never had a goat.
Goat's good.
Ugh.
It's an excellent sacrificial animal because you can eat it when you're done.
See, that makes sense. Like all these satanistic, what is that, satanistics, and what is that, satanistics? What is it called again?
Satanist.
Yeah. What would you pick? Would you pick like the shittiest thing? We're gonna have snake. What does that taste like? Like fish? No, we're good.
Possum. What about possum?
Yeah. and with goats, you don't have to worry about like when you shot it or however they did it back then. Where you know, like in the movie Back to the Future, where he opens up his mouth and like the BBs come falling out from the rabbit they shot.
Yeah.
Goats, you don't have to. You can lead them to the slaughter.
Oh, yeah. Okay, let's get back on. Josh and Paulie making up words and talking about goats since 1995.
All right, so guess what? There was not just one Patrick. There was two Patricks roughly around the same time frame-ish.
Well, I mean, I'm sure there was like more than one Patrick in the whole damn world.
Well, I meant with this particular one that was like preaching and doing all that stuff.
He was important enough to have records kept.
Yeah, Patrick, the one we all know, and Palladius, the lesser-known Patrick.
Because Patrick is so much like Palladius.
Well, Palladius is just another, I guess, form of saying Patrick for the language back then, or I don't know, whatever.
I am uneducated, so moving on.
Both were not of Irish descent. Patrick was Romano-British. It's a hyphen for when the Romans controlled Britain. So that tells you the time frame of when he was born. All right, and Palladius was just British. Not only was Palladius lesser known, a lot of his deeds, works, and events were wrongly attributed to the other Patrick.
Nice.
Wouldn't that be awesome? I did that. What the hell?
Yeah, I'm the one who turned water into wine. Shut up, you did not. Jesus did.
Wait, that's really rough. We're confusing Patrick with Jesus now. That'd be awesome.
I'm sorry, world. Sorry.
That'd be a good Family Guy breakaway, you know? Like they both come walking up together and just kind of staring at each other. Patrick's family was very religious, but he was not religious at first. At age 16, he was kidnapped from his home by Irish pirates, and he spent 6 years in slavery herding sheep in Ireland.
But he was doing more than that if they took a young boy.
Cool.
Oh, yeah, you caught that one. A boomeranged on you, didn't it?
That so did. Not only that, they're like in Britain. The raiders just go around random houses and, hello, we're here for your kids.
Give us your kid and we'll burn your house down. Okay. Johnny, come here. Some nice men want to take you away.
You take Patrick. He's a good boy. I don't know. That's not my British accent, but... yeah.
Scottish accent.
That was, yeah. All right. While in slavery, he gets very religious. Go figure. He prayed a lot. And after 6 years, he hears a voice that said, "You do well to fast, because soon you will depart back to your home." That's good. That's a good sign, isn't it?
Sounds good, yeah.
I always think that, like, you know, growing up and listening to preachers and stuff like that, it really got to me to hear voices and shit back in the day. Because, like, it makes you want to hear a voice. because the way to describe it's very, you know?
Yeah, it's very, the clouds part, the sun shines down on you.
Yeah, even in Monty Python, they have cool ones, even though it's like some crappy graphic of it.
Take ye to the land of Camelot.
So after a few days, he hears another voice that says, "Behold, your ship is ready." And then Patrick takes off aimlessly towards the coast, and about 200 miles later, he finds a ship. That's a long way to go. He gets down on the coast, and he's like, damn, he's walking around. Damn.
Well, see, that's the thing. It's like, do you think that, like, he followed it, and, like, the first place he went, there was a ship, and you're like, hey, Patrick, waiting on you? Or do you think it was like, he went to, like, 6 ports, and he's like, oh, this must be the one. God led me to it. Okay. My name's Patrick. I'm here for my ship. No, you're not. Oh, okay.
And you know what? It kind of ends up that way. Because when he gets there, when he finally finds a ship, he persuades a very angry captain to let him go on for no cost.
Nice. I guess you just had to offer, quote-unquote, services.
I've been a sheep herder for 6 years. You know what that means.
Yeah. Hey, how you doing? Sheep herder here.
So 3 days later, he gets back to Britain. Here's a good folklore story for you, one of the first ones. You ready?
I've prepared myself mentally.
When he arrived on British soil, no one knew where they were at. So Patrick guides the crew deep into a forest. They wander for 28 days. The group then becomes extremely hungry, and Patrick prayed, and a herd of wild boar just walked right up to him. They killed them and ate them till they had their fill, and then they had food for the rest of the journey. Yeah, I call bullshit because, I mean, really, there's ships that there's ships that sail all around, and they don't know where they land.
Well, I'm going to call shenanigans. I'm not going to call bullshit, because navigating back then was very difficult. They just had like the moon and the stars and, basic instruments to figure out where they were going. So if they landed in England, it might have been by accident. They might not have known where they were. They could have been off by 100 miles. They might have been off by 3 miles and didn't know it. So, but then, then they were wandering in the woods for a fucking month. Are you kidding me? And then, oh God, please send us food. And he sends a pack of friendly wild boar. Okay.
They just come walking up, pet me.
Hey there, human. Pet me with that large blunt instrument you're about to swing down on my head.
So after the forest, he apparently gets kidnapped again and put back into slavery again for 2 months.
Those rascally pirates.
And he gets free again. But there's no records on how this happened, who did it, and where they took him. So I think that part was probably added in for storyline or something. I don't know.
It was the pirates who stole him earlier, but now he's too old and they don't want him anymore.
That sheep herding ass is not as good as what it used to be. He finally gets back home and he reunites with his family, and then he gets really into his Christian studies. Then he gets a vision. And I'm talking the really good vision. It's of some dude who comes up to him, and letter heading read, "The Voice of Ireland." And the contents pretty much said, hey, Ireland's calling you back. You need to come back here. So he journeys back. And he lands in the same port that he fled from 6 years earlier. Well, whatever that was. But he was met with unwelcome locals. And he had to leave the port and go north and park somewhere else because they didn't want him. They didn't want him back in Ireland.
That's a hero's return.
So he stays a few days in the port, and then he goes on the mainland. Now, this is the fun part. You ready for this? He goes converting crazy. He creates sanctioned areas for prayer. He converted all the pagans. He ordained priests to run the communities. He was the new sheriff in town, so to speak, and it pissed off a lot of people. In the rich neighborhoods, he'd convert daughters into nuns of poverty against their family's wishes. He wrote a hardcore letter to the Roman commander of Ireland, talking about his troops stealing and enslaving their converts, killing them and raping all the children in the communities. Now, this led to him getting in trouble, obviously, and he stood trial. But here's the fun thing, with all the piss-poor record keeping, they didn't know that there's no record of what he was actually on trial for, other than having financial improprieties. But it's not of what you think. It's not from stealing. It's not from misuse of funds. It was from not accepting donations of any kind. The question was, how is he paying for all this if he has no money?
Yeah, that's It's actually kind of funny. It's like, oh, well, you're not taking any money in. You're not accepting donations. How are you paying for all this, guy?
And he's like, it's all from Jesus. Okay, that probably sounds really blasphemic, but I was hoping for a comic relief from it, but okay. I'll omit it then.
Sorry. I didn't know what to say. It's all from Jesus. Yes, it was.
I just picture you like, and when I said that, you reach down and you're eating a grape or something.
I was taking a drink of water, actually.
Ah, I was close. So he maybe cracked smiled, but no one can see that because this is, it's radio, I guess. So,
yeah, that's right.
So an old friend of Patrick's is Bishop Brianon. And he goes to the Pope and he pleads his case to the Pope. And the Pope clears him and titles him the Bishop of Ireland. Patrick lives out the rest of his days in Ireland. In the 17th century, Patrick was sainted by everyone except the Catholic Church. There you go.
Well, yeah.
I guess one of the religions has to be pissed off by you, I guess.
Well, I don't think you're doing anything right unless religion's pissed off at you.
Palladius. You remember him. We talked about him earlier. Good guy, spells good.
He has to be able to spell good with a name like Palladius.
Because it's spelled Palladius.
Sure, why not?
His timeline to Ireland was right before St. Patrick's. He did the same kind of missionary work, like I said earlier. So he arrived in Ireland in 431 AD. And Patrick arrived in 432 AD. See how close that is? Now, some Irish analysts think that Patrick's timeline was moved closer to Palladius's for some reason, but they just don't know why.
Yeah, the good old record keeping.
Palladius didn't stay long in Ireland. He was actually banished by the King of Leinster. See, Ireland's made up into 4 provinces, and that's one of them, Leinster is. And I guess back then they had kings for each province. But yeah, he was kicked out, and the records show that he went to Scotland. That's where he pretty much died at. Now, here the fun part is. He died between the years 457 to 461 AD. Yeah.
It's like 14 years.
Obviously, the death date and how he died are all lost with the piss-poor record keeping.
It's like, when did he die? Somewhere between like March 1981 and yesterday.
St. Patrick died on March 17th, either 492 or 493. Well,
okay, you know what? I'll take a year. I mean, if someone could go, when did he die? Was it last year? 1 year I can understand because of piss poor record keeping. I'll accept that.
According to the Irish analysts, they were surprised from the findings because in the beginning, when we talked about the hyphen with the Romano and all that stuff, they believed what time he was born. So when he died, they roughly calculated it up as a 120-year-old man.
Yeah, right.
Somebody did some bad math. Carry the one. He was 120.
Yes, someone moved the 10-year dot on the abacus instead of the 100-year dot. It was 50, not 120.
Hold on, like back then, the life expectancy was maybe 40, and you're like an old man by then?
Yeah, it's like, if you were 40, it was like, cane and wheelchair time. They sent him out in the woods to be killed by the very friendly packs of wild boars.
Oh, God. All right, so here's some more of Patrick's legendary stories. Most of us know about the snake story. St. Patrick went on top of a mountain to pray, and violent snakes tried attacking him. He ran him down the mountain and to the shore and banished all snakes out of the Emerald Island. Now, this myth probably came about because of the absence of snakes in Ireland. But the reality is, the Isle is surrounded by frigid waters, so it's too cold for them to migrate. Another story is when he arrived the second time. He was accompanied with a goat. Here's your goat story I told you about earlier. While he was out, some locals from a small town called Skerries took the goat and ate it. Now, Patrick was so friggin' pissed over this, he jumped from island to island trying to find these guys. And every time he jumped, he would make a footprint into the rock. So when he caught up with them, they denied that they ate his goat, so Patrick took their ability to speak away and made them only able to speak in goat. So I guess they were just all over the place, and yeah. Now, he did that until they confessed. Here's my question. If you turn everyone's speech into goat, how would you know they're confessing?
Because he's St. Patrick, the goat whisperer.
Okay. Now, to this day, the people of Scaries are sometimes referred to as the Scaries Goats.
Bullshit. Oh, sneeze. Sorry.
These are legendary stories of a true thing that happened.
Legendary, no shit.
Based on actual events.
No. You have to put inspired by actual events.
No, because
what happened was that St. Patrick went from aisle to aisle looking for people, and they're like, get off our island.
Yeah, he probably kicked the rock, fuckers, and walked away.
Yeah, and he left footprints in the sand as he left.
Hey, but these are in the mountain rocks, dude. I mean, he was like, roar! Fear, no fear. I don't know, I got nothing. All right, and the final story is St. Patrick's Ashwood staff. When he preached, he'd stab the staff into the ground so he can use his hands when he talked. Now, on a particular occasion, it took him a long time trying to get his message across to the people. And the staff took root and turned into a living tree. That's a lot of talking.
That's a long time to talk. To turn something inanimate into a living tree.
I like that story just because of the pure, ridiculousness of it. I like it.
Do you think, during that time he had to shave and, or did he just have, a ZZ Top beard?
I'm picturing him putting the mirror on the actual Ashwood staff and shaving and everything. Yeah, it's good times.
Sure, why not?
There's 3 relics that were attached to St. Patrick when, they buried him in his tomb. And a guy dug him up about 60 years later because he said an angel told him to. So he unburied St. Patrick's bell, or the Bell of Testament, St. Patrick's goblet, and the angel's gospel. I guess that's a book of something. I don't know. So the bell was sent to Armagh. It's a town that housed archbishops and civil parishes. And the goblet was sent to Down, which is a county of Ireland, kind of like, I guess, a museum or something. But the angelic gospel, the guy kept, and they let him keep it.
Cool.
So it pays to be a grave robber. Wait, no, that's not right.
Yeah, that's the takeaway from this story. It pays to be a grave robber.
St. Patrick used the shamrock to explain the Holy Trinity. For anyone who doesn't know, it's a Christian belief that there's the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. It was easier to use the shamrock as a visual aid for this because Irish culture is steeped in the mystic number 3. I didn't know that.
That's correct.
In the 18th century, the shamrock made its triumphant return, also stamping it as an iconic symbol to the holiday, because all the Irish Christians would wear the shamrock, showing their Irish Christian pride, which later turned into wearing green clothing. Did you know that?
I did not, and that's very cool.
The St. Patrick's Day Parade originated in America, and the first account was in 1762 when a group of Irish-American soldiers marched down the street to the pub to celebrate the holiday. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, they all get together and we're going to go drinking.
You guys ready to celebrate St. Patrick's Day? Let's get to it. All right, so later in the 1840s, thousands and thousands of Irish immigrants poured into the States due to the potato famine. Do you know what the potato famine is?
It was when potatoes were unavailable. That's what a famine is.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. I mean, if you want to go...
Want to get all stupid about it, yeah.
Now, this is just really fucked up. It is true. British were pretty rough on the people they ruled over. Britain made Ireland into a grocery store for exports, and the millions of farmers got paid shit. So the cheapest way to feed their family was a very potato-based diet. And then, of course, a pathogenic outbreak happens to all the damn potatoes. And many people died in a very nasty way.
It was basically, it wasn't like a fungus, but it was like some kind of disease that killed all the potatoes, wasn't it?
You can throw a potato in the ground and it'll regrow. But when you do it so many times, it pretty much causes like a pathogen or a cancer-like problem to it. And then it's bad. They didn't have a choice, so they still had to eat them. And then it made a lot of them sick, and millions of them died, and the other half pretty much just left and said, fuck you, we're going to Telemundo.
No shit.
When they all got to the States, like their previous immigrants, they realized how segregated everyone is. So the parades back then were more like little small gatherings. Then as immigrants became merchants and politicians, the parade started to get bigger. Not only was it to celebrate a holiday, it was also supposed to help integrate their culture into American society. Now, I laughed earlier when I said about the segregated thing because, yeah, everywhere. It wasn't just the United States. Everywhere was pretty racist. Well, not racist, culturalist, I guess. You know, they stayed within their own cultures and they made fun of different cultures. Is that racism? I really don't know the definition.
Well, being proud of your own race is being a racist. Being proud of your own race at the expense of others is called a bigot. They use racism wrong.
But
because
I mean,
there's nothing wrong with being proud of who you are and where you're from. But being proud of who you are and where you're from at the expense of someone else is wrong.
Okay, yeah, I get it now. I didn't know how racist people were, or segregated, that's the word I used, until I got out of school. And I was actually doing research on my own for different things. And a perfect example of that is if you watch like Hell on Wheels, if you watch some of the old-timey movies, and they talk about, well, if you're Irish, you're called a Mick, or whatever the term was back then, to identify them as a culture and make fun of them at the same time.
Exactly. Well, that's like the term WAP for Italians. Do you know where that came from?
What I understand is it meant without papers.
That's correct. Whenever they immigrated to like Ellis Island in Chicago, if they didn't have their immigration papers, they would write WOP, without papers. And that became a racial slur for them. It was a way to separate them. It's, you know, do you have your papers? No, that line. Do you have your papers? Yes, welcome to America. Do you have your papers? Yes, welcome to America.
Oh, you mean like lines like in the DMV? Okay, everyone who is a WAP, you go over here. Oh God, that sounds so bad.
Doesn't it? It sounds terrible, but at the time, it was just a way of separating the people. If you have your papers, go over here. If you are without papers, go over here. Calling people names are bad. America, internet.
Well, this is global. It wasn't just in the United States.
Yeah, it is. It's all over. It's like, you know, if your eyes are too close or too far apart somewhere, they're going to call you something else. You've taught me something today.
Leprechauns.
Moving on.
How much do you know about leprechauns?
Leprechauns are short Irish people, the ends of rainbows, who guards pots of gold, and who have a movie franchise named after them. Leprechaun in the Hood, yo.
Oh, me Lucky Charms.
Leprechaun in space, the best.
All right, these little guys are really insignificant to Ireland, but for Americans, it's a different story. This is due to the 1900s book called Darby O'Gill and the Good People. And this gave Americans the first real introduction to Irish culture. And in 1959, the book was adapted to a film and renamed Darby O'Gill and the Little People. You remember that movie, don't you?
No, but thank you for asking.
Really? Yeah, I saw it many times when I was a kid, and it was pretty cool. It was steeped with leprechauns. So, leprechauns were not invented to be the mascot for the holiday. The Irish never really paid attention to this because this is just one of 1,000 fairy tales of their land. That was pretty cool, though, because I did a lot of research, and Ireland's pretty steeped with a lot of badass, like, fairy tales and shit.
Yeah, fairies specifically.
And here's an example. There's a cousin to the leprechaun. It's called the Clarican. Now, this particular drunk little guy, he guards people's wine cellars, and that's all he does.
That sounds like a job for me.
Isn't that cool? I like that.
We probably had to give him, like, wine or something to guard your wine cellar.
Oh, you mean it's kind of like a stray cat? You start feeding it, and then it's not stray anymore. So you find like a stray leprechaun, and you just, hey.
Well, no, in a lot of old stories, they talk about like how if you wanted somebody to do something for you, you had to give them something in return. You know, this what's his name?
Cluricon?
Yeah, him. If you wanted him to guard your alcohol, you probably had to pay him in alcohol, more than likely.
Probably true. But what would he do? Would he just like jump on you and kick you in the eye or something?
Well, you know, those it's a lot like trick or treating and stuff like that. They believed in like goblins and fairies and stuff, and those weren't good goblins and fairies like, you know, like Halloween kind of stuff. It was like that. I mean, they would torture you and they would do bad things to you. If you hired him or did whatever to have him protect your alcohol, if someone else were to go after it, he would do terrible things to them.
Good times.
Fun fact.
Originally, way back when, pagan gods came to Ireland. Well, this is the origin story, so to speak. And after they ruled for quite some time, and through time or whatever, they shrank in size and birthed fairies and majestic creatures. And through more time, stories passed down from generation to generation. And here's a fun, pretty much lore stories are like the first fan fiction. Yeah? So, and then leprechauns were formed.
Yes.
Leprechauns get their gold from stealing shit from people's houses when their husbands are away at war.
Cool. Say, do you know how to get away from a leprechaun?
No.
There's actually a couple of ways. Leprechauns were believed to be cobblers. That they would fix your shoe. Like if you would leave your shoes out at night, they would fix them for you. And so, if you ever wanted to get away from a leprechaun, what you could do is you could throw shoes at him, and he would either fix them, or if you would untie the shoes and pull the laces out, he'd have to lace it up and tie it for you.
Huh. Their love of dance and drink are extremely excessive. They dance so much, they wear out their shoes in one night. So they have to make their own shoes, which is kind of, what you just said.
And it only took you 5 tries to do it.
I suck. Leprechauns are not labeled good or bad, but they are very, very mischievous. It is said if you catch one, you can steal their gold, or they can grant you 3 wishes to escape captivity. But beware of what you wish for.
That's right.
Happy St. Patty's Day, Josh.
Happy St. Patrick's Day, Polly.
Let's look at voting, the cornerstone of American democracy, the unshakable principle that everyone should have an equal vote, even idiots.
It's time to vote.
Uh-oh.
We have our Facebook page now. It's the Miscellaneous Podcast. Just look us up in groups. And this is for the upcoming big debate show, Star Wars versus Star Trek. Okay, we're going to do this together. We're going to get our cell phones out. As I drop my phone.
Or we do this tomorrow because my phone is broken. I was talking about your phone that dropped.
Oh, my name's Per.
Found it.
Now, oh shit. Hit my microphone.
Kaboom!
So what does it look like? Because I just made the page. I don't know,
Oh, it's got our miscellaneous podcast, our yellow thing at the top. It says 4 members. I just clicked to join on mine, so if you
Cool.
could approve that, that'd be great.
It was public, so I didn't have to do that. I thought it would just automatically put them up there.
Polly Urban approved your... Polly approved your request to join the miscellaneous podcast group.
All right, you ready to post?
Oh, I've already posted.
Okay, so did I. Let's see what you got. Dude, we did the same one! Now, however, listeners, this does not mean that we're going to be biased during our actual debate.
Trust me. I've never trusted, and I never will.
Check out the Miscellaneous Podcast Facebook page and groups. Place your votes. And I think it's public, so everybody can do it, right?
You don't have to be a member. You can just post your comment there to vote for it.
All right. So on the next episode, we're going to do the Sweet 16 of TV sitcoms. I'm looking at my wave thing. I think my P's are going to be like
your S's were...
all my references come from the internets, and we know the internets are only truth.
That's right. If it's on the interwebs, it must be true.
Yeah, Irish culture steeped in I don't know. So their love of dance and drink are extremely... Oh, fuck. Their love of dance and drink are extremely... Fuck me, Freddy. So leprechauns were made their... Fuck me, Freddy. I can't talk anymore. So
I
leprechaun...
can't brain today. Faith and Bagora. I don't know what that means.
Goodbye.